Texas Metal Show. I'm your host, John fucking Winningham, and this is the very first Heavy Metal Monday. I have to say, our very first Heavy Metal Monday with WARLUNG. And if you're not familiar with WARLUNG, they're like this badass concoction of Electric Wizard and Black Sabbath. And I kind of hate to describe them that way because they bring their own uniqueness to their music, but if you like both or either of those bands, this is the band for you. But the first Heavy Metal Monday at Sigma Brewing was fucking amazing. We had so many people come, we gave away t-shirts and CDs and all sorts of cool shit, and we drank lots of great Sigma beer and had badass burgers from Umbrella Fellas. So, this is that interview. There's going to be a little bit of background noise in this one. It's just the way it is. We recorded it in the tap room, so just get the fuck over it. Hope you enjoy the interview. Thank you very much for being our first guest on Heavy Metal Mondays at Sigma Brewing.
Yes.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Man. Thank you.
So
Really
we've
stoked.
got, we'll start over here.
I'm Ethan. I play drums.
Chris, I play bass.
Hey, what's up? I'm Philip. Play guitar and do some vocals as well.
I'm George. I play guitar and sing.
So you guys, George and Philip.
Yes.
Phil or Philip?
Phil. Phil's good.
So you guys do... Who does more of the vocals? Do you guys share that together, or
We switch between like the main melody and the harmonies.
Yeah. I always look to George. You know, he's my spirit animal. So.
Why is that?
Yeah. Oh, he's just he's Tony Iommi's. You know.
Reborn?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I think Tony Iommi's still alive.
Yeah. He's his twin brother, actually.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about influences straight off the bat. I read on Bandcamp, and I thought that this was a decent equivalency, but I hate to do it, but it's difficult. They said WARLUNG is like if you took Black Sabbath and mixed it with Electric Wizard. Do you guys feel like that is an appropriate way to describe some of your music without being too derivative?
Yeah, I think it's pretty close. Definitely Black Sabbath-esque, you know.
I mean, the whole point of this whole project was to kind of go in that direction of the Sabbath sound. So I would definitely agree
You
with
guys
that.
nailed it. You guys definitely have that excellent Iommi spirit going on in those riffs.
This whole thing started because we did a Black Sabbath cover show one day, and then after we did that, we were like, "Well, that was fucking cool." So maybe we can
just make music.
Yeah, maybe we
that.
can just do that now.
Yeah.
make music in that vein, like.
Let me talk about the history of you guys for a minute, because as far as I know, you guys were like, hey, WARLUNG's a band. Boom. The debut album, Sleepwalker, came out in October 2017. And I have to tell you, the first time I listened to that whole thing, I was like, holy shit. That album is solid through and through from start to finish.
Thank you.
And to be honest, a lot of local bands don't always achieve that when they put out their first album. So do you guys have roots with other bands that you may have been in the past? Because you guys kind of seem to know what you're doing.
We do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Which other bands have you guys played with?
Well, I've actually been playing with Chris here for, I think we started 2010.
Yeah.
We were in a band called Rivers. Kind of more of like garage rocky, jangly stuff. And I've known George, what seems like my whole life.
Actually, we've all
Yeah.
played in the same band.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
We all
George
played in
was
Rivers
for a little while.
at one point.
We're all
George,
current and former members of Rivers.
Yeah.
I was in Rivers for like a year.
And so is Rivers still a thing that's going on, or?
Kind of.
not so much, but
We have an
it's still
album
there.
of stuff we could cook
Yeah,
out.
we have a whole album we never released,
Yeah.
and it's not done. We're just on a hiatus now because of WARLUNG and starting this. So
A good hiatus.
How was the debut album Sleepwalker received?
Very well.
great!
I mean, for me, it's absolutely fantastic. I think we played you guys first on the very last Texas Metal Radio Southern Haze.
Awesome.
Indicativa.
Yeah.
Let me
Nice.
talk about that for a second. I know I keep jumping topics, but I'm really excited to have you guys sitting here with us.
Yeah.
Because as I talked about earlier, outside the kind of more doomy side of life is what I like in my own personal life, but John fucking Winningham has to like all sorts of stuff. It's not all good.
You're well-rounded.
That's what we try to be.
We're only
because
human.
I think the biggest issue with some of the local scene here in Houston, and I don't know if this goes on in Austin or Dallas or any other places, like there's obviously a huge split. You're not going to see like a doom band and a thrash band and a death metal band on the same stage.
Yeah.
Alexis from Project Armageddon and Doomstress is the only person that I've seen play with a Spectral Manifest. Are y'all familiar with Spectral Manifest?
No.
They are
actually
a
not.
kind of a tech death band from, like, I think the Katy area. Maybe I'm misrepresenting a couple of years ago.
Nice.
They did a Northside Apocalypse that was needs cohesion
Yeah,
and people
it
to
does.
work
That
together.
sounds really cool.
Yeah, it was great. And then Alexis decided she didn't ever want to play Houston again because she hates us. Not her words. That's just what I took from what she told us. So yeah, she can't defend herself, but she's sitting like 10 feet away from us. Take that, Alexis.
She can't.
Not even paying any fucking attention at all. So Indicativa, what was the inspiration behind that song? Because it's really like a love song, but it's also like a marijuana love song all wrapped into one.
There's two main inspirations, indica and sativa.
Which do you prefer?
And what are those again? I'm not familiar with those. I don't
prefer
know what
sativa.
those are.
The Doomstress has walked over and is peering in on the interview because she sensed that I was talking trash about her behind her back.
Your ears were burning.
Yeah. So that's it, huh? You're just a big fan of smoking dope. That's against the law.
The song is kind of like a
Only in
ballad.
this state.
Yeah, only in this
I
state.
mean, we know several other states too, but in numerous countries. But there are several states in this country. I've been to a couple on tour, and when in Rome or Portland
What was I saying?
or
Oh, yeah, that song,
Colorado,
it's kind of
I couldn't
like,
agree more.
right?
Like a weed god named Indicativa. who
You
just
gotta
wants
pray
to
every day, man.
I do. I pray every day.
We do too.
That's kind of
We all do.
You get it.
If you guys could see what's going on here, there's some squinty eyes. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
No idea what you're talking about.
So, from what I understand, and I could be wrong, please correct me. At some point in some of y'all's lives, you guys had a band together that was stopped by a senseless murder. From what I understand, is that
Oh,
correct?
yes.
Can we
Yeah.
talk about that a
Dead
little bit?
Revolt. Yeah.
Yeah, that was mine. I was in a project called the Dead Revolt, and my bass player and friend of over a decade, he was murdered at a stoplight for no reason.
For no reason at all.
Some guy.
Senseless act of violence.
That's insane. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Pure trash.
And has that affected what you do with Warlung and the music you write at all?
Well, I don't think it really affected it, except that I started writing different kinds of music, and I didn't really put a halt to that project. I'm still writing stuff, and we put out an album after he passed, and I kind of want to do another one, but I got more focused on different kind of stuff, and I've always loved Sabbath, and just wanted.
How could you not? If I've ever met anyone, they're like, man, I don't like Sabbath. They're like, what
can't
the
trust
fuck
They
is
don't
wrong
like
with
music.
you? How could you not like Sabbath?
Yeah, that's just
Rock and roll.
That's an abomination.
Yeah,
Like,
because I've always secretly wanted to be in a Sabbath cover band, but I don't want to be in a cover band.
And we
Yeah.
were.
So I was like,
We were for one
Yeah,
night.
one night on Halloween.
Yeah, we had one opportunity. My friend was like, we'll put on a Halloween show, dress like your favorite band and play their songs. And I was like, okay. And we all dressed up as Sabbath.
Yeah, do you have pictures from
Actually,
that?
we
Yeah.
have
Fateful
photographic
night.
proof.
Oh, I want to see
Phil.
that.
Yeah,
As
and
Ozzy.
it was a
That's-
really great show.
Phil, your eyeliner was beautiful.
Eyeliner.
And afterwards,
Did you stumble around stage and trip over things?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Because
was
I've seen
clapping.
Ozzy
It
a
was
few
great.
times, and that's what happens.
I did a lot of
Classic Ozzy
research
clap
on.
and nod.
Yeah,
It was 70s Ozzy. 70s Ozzy.
Really drugged out Ozzy.
yeah, so that's
fucked
the
up,
whole
like-
thing. It made me kind of just want to I like to put my head in different kinds of genres. That's my thing.
Is this kind of the first doomy, stonery style of music that you've played?
I did one project called Death by Supernova. It was just a standalone album. It's kind of more rock and roll, but it kind of has that, I don't know, heavier kind of style. That was kind of my first
Those songs
attempt.
were great.
Yeah,
George.
it was good.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Fucking album was awesome.
Can people still find that music?
Yeah, it's on a Bandcamp.
Fucking band.
It's
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Spotify too, isn't it? I've listened to it on Spotify.
It could be. I know it
Yeah.
was.
Okay, yeah. I'm
If you
pretty
just
sure it's still
Google-
on there.
Just
That's
Google
where I heard
George
it,
Baba Bandcamp, you'll find it.
So what about you two over here on the right? I know we've kind of been talking to George and Phil a little bit over here, but what about you two, man? Where do you guys come from?
We live
Obviously,
to play, man.
you guys
We
are a
live to play.
tight-knit group. I've seen you live a couple of times. The first time, I don't recall the first time we saw you live, but I do recall it blowing me away and going, holy shit, I want these guys to be on my show. And you were like, oh, guys, we're working on a record. Don't worry, it's coming out soon.
Don't talk to me. We're busy.
Yeah, leave us alone.
Yeah, that's
No, actually, like you know, our dad's a drummer, and
Yeah, we're
grew up
brothers, by
playing-
the way,
Oh,
just for
okay,
anyone that
okay.
didn't know that.
Who's the older brother?
If you couldn't
Chris.
tell, they're family resemblance.
Yeah, there
here
is
or whatever.
I notice it more so now that you bring it up.
Once it's mentioned, then people are like, oh, okay. But before that, it's like, they could be brothers. Like,
So you grew up in a household full of music?
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
What kind of music?
Just the classic
Zeppelin,
stuff, man. Classics. Deep Purple,
Cream,
Neil Young,
fucking
yeah, all the old,
all kinds
I mean,
of
you
shit,
know,
man. Like,
And when you say your dad's a drummer, was he like just a drummer as a hobby, or did he drum professionally? Did he play music? Did he have
played in
bands?
college. He played in a couple bands during his
they
college
do like
days.
they would do like frat parties and stuff. And they just do the cover songs. I mean, at the time, covering what, like Grand Funk, Railroad, and fucking
nice.
yeah.
I would love to see that.
So in your rearing,
They were actually called Captain Bligh. Captain Bligh.
Yeah.
I've always loved that.
Captain what?
Bligh.
Captain Bligh.
Yeah,
That's
Captain
awesome.
Bligh.
in
is
your
almost as
rearing
good
as
as-
children, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say it's almost as good as Captain Geach in the Shrimp Shack Shooters. Sorry.
It's a close second. It's a close second.
I'm getting over a bit of a chest
You're
cold,
worshiping.
so I'm trying not to cough too terribly into the microphone. As children growing up, what were the things that your parents listened to or your dad listened to that you feel touched you the most and made you want to pick up an instrument?
I remember my mom showing me Frampton Comes
Yep.
Alive.
Oh yeah.
I was probably 10, 11 years old. Our dad exposed us to the Beatles and Deep Purple, and I mean just everything that you would hope to be exposed to as a kid. Looking for that oomph, that grit.
Yeah.
My dad made us listen to the Beatles all the time when I was a kid, and I fucking hated it.
No, I totally understand. Actually, man, like he showed me the Beatles, and then he showed me Santana, and when I heard Santana, that was the end all be all for me at the time.
I think
blew
what
me away.
really exposed me to rock and roll was AC/DC. Because I remember my dad letting me buy AC/DC's Highway to Hell, and my mom was against that. She was like, why are you letting him buy this album? And he was like, it's not that bad. It's just rock and roll.
Did you guys grow up in like a Christian home, or was it just
Yeah,
kind of
we
your
did.
mom?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Going to church
They're-
all the time?
They're Southern Baptists for sure. But my dad still has his roots in rock and roll and Satan.
I think
Yeah,
that
I
was a
don't-
bit.
not really.
You hear that, Dad? They think you love Satan.
Yeah, that's probably one thing that we all have in common is our dads love rock and roll music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
heavily forced it upon us. Not
God
even
bless
forced.
Dad.
We all love loved our dads.
That's good. It's good to know that you
I
all
remember
love your
one time-
dads. I was lucky enough. I grew up with two dads. No, my dads aren't gay. I had a stepdad and then a biological father.
Yeah.
And my stepdad introduced us to things like the Eagles and Pink Floyd and the Beatles and stuff. And of
Yeah,
course,
man.
growing up, I was like, that's just old people music. I don't want to listen
Yeah.
to that, which is
Yeah.
the dumbest fucking thing you can think.
Yeah.
Because they're introducing you to things that are going
But
to
see, it
expand
doesn't make
your
any
mind.
sense to you at the time.
No,
you know?
not
when
at
you're,
all.
When you're
Yeah, you don't
a kid,
get it.
you-
No
yeah,
frame
you
of
don't get it.
reference whatsoever.
I had
Yeah.
my dad luckily had
loved
a
it from
really
the start.
a really nice vinyl collection, and as a kid I'd be like, man, these are so cool. And you get the big ones and listen to them, but then I'd get into other bands like there's this band UFO. I don't know if y'all listen to
Oh,
those
man,
guys
yeah.
shred. Like Montrose, all those bands.
Montrose?
Sammy Hagar on Montrose. I have that vinyl, and it's
You guys
I
just
used
seem
to-
to click
Yeah.
together as a group so well.
It's just pure rock and roll.
Dude, I gave Sam a Montrose
I can tell.
vinyl
Been friends for a long time.
1 year for his birthday, like
Oh,
as a
you-
joke.
I remember that.
Dude, Montrose is awesome.
Yeah,
And
they are really.
yeah.
They
You
really
heard it here first,
Rock
everyone.
candy.
The doom metal band Warlung loves Montrose.
Three-fourths of Warlung.
Yeah, yeah.
You're the odd man
They're
out.
pretty cool. They're pretty cool.
No, it's good. That one album, the self-titles is great.
My biological father introduced us to things like Black Sabbath and Metallica, but also
Yeah.
like Madonna and Marty Robbins
Oh,
and
yeah.
some other country
You need
music
that.
that I kind of just
Sure.
ignored most of my life. 'Cause-
Hey, Marty
You
Robbins.
need to know what you
Oh,
didn't
Marty
like.
Robbins is absolutely fantastic,
Yeah.
but my parents were the type of people that, excuse me, they got rid of their vinyl collections.
Yeah.
Vinyl's done. My dad was like, you couldn't
Sad.
find replacement parts.
Yeah.
You couldn't find any new needles. Like
Yeah.
it was just fucked. So I got
Yeah.
rid of all that shit now in the last 8 years.
And now
vinyl.
that's what's happening.
Yeah,
Everybody wants
vinyl is in
vinyl.
a
You can
huge
find that
resurgence.
shit anywhere. Like
Even my
it's
aunt
crazy.
and uncle recently, they were like just getting rid of a bunch of vinyl, and I rated it, and God, there's so much good stuff in there.
So recently, like in the last day or two, Best Buy actually announced that they're shutting down their music section and
I
getting rid
saw
of
that.
all the
Really?
CDs in the stores.
Wow.
What do you guys think about that?
I think it's typical.
Dude, I used to
Well,
I used to go to Best Buy religiously
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
buy albums.
Oh, yeah.
You know, 10 years ago they had everything. They had everything you'd ever want. You know, but over the years, you know, when MP3s came about, like their selection started to suffer. You know,
I mean, shit. When you have stuff like Spotify and
Yeah.
and iTunes, I mean, it's like
can't
I'm
compete.
surprised they've been able to sell CDs for this long. You know, like I'm
I
surprised
still
it
love
had.
CDs,
it had
man.
no, I love
Yeah.
CDs too, but
See,
I
I don't. I give all my CDs away. If I get CDs, I rip them.
I'll take 'em.
and give them away.
what'd you do with that CD I just gave you?
I just threw it out.
Damn
I
it,
already
dude.
have the album on digital. What do I
It's
need
my
to
coaster,
see?
shit
man.
in the trash.
You know, the only thing I can see good coming out of the bigger box stores getting rid of those parts of their store is
Yeah,
the local
cheap.
music store is going to come back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have to go to Cactus Records or Sig's Lagoon or any of the other
Soundwaves.
fucking deep
Used to get
water
those.
Yeah.
to get what you want now. You can't just go down the street to Walmart, which was always funny to me because I would find like Dream
Man,
Theater albums
dude,
and shit
I
at
know.
Walmart when I was younger.
You were-
That-
Nice.
You were talking about Linkin Park records. I bought the first Linkin Park record from Walmart.
I'll tell you a secret.
Yeah.
I like that record.
Me too.
Hybrid
Now,
Theory.
Me too.
Is awesome.
If you're
Yeah.
listening to the show and you're going, what the fuck are these guys talking
Hybrid
about?
Theory.
You gotta think, when that album
Creed.
came out, we were what,
POD.
8th grade,
Yeah.
7th grade,
Creed.
9th grade?
Creed.
I'm into
That
POD,
shit went hard
Lit,
back then.
Linkin Park. You know, all that old stuff.
When I was 12 or 13 years old, Creed was my jam.
Yeah.
That and
shit, dude.
a band called DC Talk, which started off as like a Christian rock, a Christian rap band, and over the years they formed into Christian rock. We were really Christian growing up. We went to church like twice a week.
Yeah, so did we.
listened to like nothing but top 40 or Christian music or the Beatles.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff was saturated everywhere,
Yeah.
and that's probably why now we worship Satan. Me, not we as the people at Warlung. Oh, John and the Texas Metal Show. Surprise, surprise, we love the devil.
Really? I thought this
Sorry,
was
Mom.
I thought this was a Christian podcast.
No,
I have been
let's go,
been
guys.
misled here,
What are we
sir.
doing here?
Well, interview over, guys. We only got 19 minutes, but that's better than nothing.
Yeah.
How long from Warlung forming did you guys have a solid idea of what you were going to do for Sleepwalker, the debut album? If you don't have it, Bandcamp. Bandcamp
So
it
when
up.
was that Halloween show?
I think. I think the songs. I mean, you had material like as soon as we.
When did we
you know,
start rehearsing, and then when did we
It
start
was.
recording?
It was like August.
It was July.
Was it July? Okay.
It was
what
July
year?
of 16
Is when what?
when we first started getting together.
Have
July-
you had too many beers?
And then we recorded in November of 2016.
January and February of 17?
Oh, yeah, I'm off.
17.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was,
With Jake.
And how long was the recording process for that
A
record?
couple weeks.
And how long was
well,
the
we knocked
mastering
it
and the
out.
mixing?
It took a while. I mean,
It took a while because like we didn't. It wasn't like a like record every day kind of thing. It was like I'll record and then maybe next week someone else will record. Maybe in a couple weeks someone else will record. You know,
pass it
that's
through
kind of how
different
we did
hands
it.
to mix it, master it. So
Who did you guys go for the mixing and mastering? Anybody in particular?
The guys over at Sugar Hill.
That is a name
Yeah.
I've heard thrown around
Yeah.
quite a bit.
yeah.
Cody
recorded.
Franz.
Yeah, we recorded it with Jake Runyon.
Jake
at,
Runyon.
the Rock Dojo, his little homemade studio. Then mixed with Cody Franz at Sugar Hill, and then mastered with
Chris Longwood.
Chris Longwood.
from
And did you
Sugar
have
Hill
this
as well.
planned out? Did you know exactly who you wanted to go to get this work done, or was it a
No.
process?
Not necessarily.
We had known we were going to record with Jake right off the get-go because we recorded a demo with him first.
Yeah.
And once we started, we dished out those 8 songs fairly quickly. So we were like, well, let's go record these. Before we wanted to play too many shows, we wanted to get that album under our belt because in the past, every time we played a good show, they're like, where's the music? I gotta hear this,
So
You were like,
knew
oops, sorry,
people
we
were
don't have
gonna
a
want
record.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we always wanted to record that album before we played a show. And obviously we needed to tune the length of music for the set. So we went with Jake. And right from that, we're like, well, we had to mix with somebody else. We had a couple ideas where we were going to go. But we talked to Cody, and he kind of linked up with us, had a beer with us, talked about the direction, and came out pretty good. It was a pretty easy process with him, and he knew Chris.
He
handed
recommended
the music
Chris.
right over to Chris, and
Okay.
he's done so much stuff.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. That they
Sugar
would
Hill-
lead you to the next people in line.
Right.
And,
And Sugar
good-
Hill's
good
like the
dudes.
oldest recording studio in Houston. So, I mean, at the time it was like a no-brainer, of course we'll go. I mean, Beyonce
Yeah.
has
What was the experience like there? Like,
was
what's
cool.
Laid
what's it
back.
like?
Very awesome.
beautiful studio, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they
You see the history when you walk in. You're
Yeah.
just like, look at these platinum records on the walls, and you're
Yeah.
going down these hallways. There's photos of just all these people.
Yeah, all the bands that recorded there.
You're
is
hearing
crazy,
different
man.
music from each
Beyonce and
studio
shit,
room.
like-
And then the
That
room we
was-
went to was amazing. Like the
Yeah.
piano, like the whole setup.
I don't
they
know
had.
if you're familiar with Booker T and the MGs. Green Onions, right? The old song from the
Yep.
'60s. They had his.
It's a B3 organ.
It was a Hammond. I believe it was
That
a
was
Hammond, right?
And the couch, man.
I'm not sure.
Oh, the-
Well, they had the
couch.
very organ that he recorded Green Onions on
Yeah, that
in
was
our
insane.
studio.
Is touch that organ.
Is that the organ that you hear in the background of some of the songs on
It's not.
Sleepwalker?
No,
I wish it was.
I really wish it was,
Who
but
played that?
unfortunately, no.
Actually, I didn't actually play it. I wrote it all on MIDI on Fruity Loops, that software program.
I know what Fruity Loops is.
Yeah, I just wrote it all in there, and then we translated it to some other sounds on some
So
other
it's
program.
not a real organ.
No.
It sounds absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool.
The background when that organ comes in on the few songs it's on, I don't exactly remember off the top of my head how many songs it is, but it just adds a whole
really does.
other
That's
layer
honestly,
to the music.
one of the best
lot of
parts was
depth.
going through the organ sounds. There was some really cool organ sounds. that
What
we
was
could've
the
used.
inspiration for using the organ in your music?
Well, I always use organ in some way. It just fills in all the empty spaces.
You're just a musician.
Yeah.
You just seem
True
to me
and
like
true.
just
Yeah, it really just makes everything sound better, even if you don't even notice it.
And the style of music we play, it just feels right.
It's
Like,
fitting.
yeah,
I mean-
it really does fit.
I mean, if you're gonna summon the devil, you're gonna need an organ.
Yeah, I agree. Anton LaVey played organ at the church,
Did he
every
really?
Sunday. Yes, he did. And that's where he started to see the wretched hypocrisy that is Christianity. Look, if you're a Christian and you're listening to the show, keep listening. We're
Sorry.
cool. We can be friends. I'm not
I
against
apologize
it.
in advance.
No, but yeah, I mean, it sounds like that kind of old school '70s organ style.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
When did you know you were a musician? At what age did you pick up your first instrument and go, holy shit, this is for me?
I think like 7th grade, maybe. 7th grade, I got really into guitar. I was like a Jimmy Page fanatic, and I was like, I gotta be this guy. I was like, I gotta.
I think you and a lot of other people have thought that
Yeah.
very
It's
same
my
thing.
life.
like yeah, after 7th grade, man, I was addicted.
I was 11, which that same Highway to Hell album that my dad let me buy, I learned how to play drums to that record. And that's when I was like, this is fucking cool.
I think middle
I'm
school.
probably going to do this for a while.
That whole preteen
And
era.
now I'm 25,
Usually when
and
everyone.
so-
In middle school, I played viola. It's not
That's
nearly
cool.
as
That's badass.
cool
That's
as
awesome.
the
You know,
guitar.
I'm actually.
I wish
really
I knew how
jealous
to
of
play
you.
an
I
instrument like
wish
that.
I would have continued. I did it for like 3 years, and I wish I would have
Yeah,
continued
if I
on
could have
into my
started
adult
over,
life.
definitely gonna play.
One of my
string
biggest
instrument.
regrets in life was at like age 9 or 10, my mom offered me and Chris piano lessons. And at the time, I was like, no, I want to learn how to play guitar. Like,
Well,
Wants to play piano.
Zach Wilde always said, if you want to play guitar well, learn to play
Yeah.
piano
Oh, yeah,
first.
absolutely.
I'm
Yeah.
not exactly 100% sure why that is, but obviously
I
the
mean,
setup of
you
the
just
instruments.
that's
understand
with
the
most
music.
Well, you know-
instruments. If you know how to play piano, it's going to be easier to learn drums. It's going to be easier to learn bass and guitar. You already know rhythm.
Right.
You got the
Piano-
roots of everything already.
Not a lot of
like-
people know this, but piano is actually a percussion-oriented instrument,
Right.
right? So that translates, obviously to drums, and so on and so forth. So, plus all the theory and things that go behind it as well.
I mean, most composers, when they compose,
Yeah.
they're on a piano.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
they
yeah.
just transcribe all that to strings.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
It's a really great way to write.
As musicians, how important is music theory? Do you think a band that doesn't understand music theory isn't going to go as far as possibly a band that does?
I would agree, yeah.
Do you think that it's really important to understand
Well,
that
look
kind
at
of
look
thing?
at somebody like Yes. Look at Yes.
Now, what era are we
to,
talking about
another
here?
plane of
Are we
existence.
talking like
Right.
owner of a lonely heart?
No,
The Fragile.
no.
Closer to
no.
the edge, or like
Exactly.
Fragile.
No,
or
I'm not
whatever.
talking 80s stuff.
Thank
Although
God.
their 80s stuff was cool, but
Get out.
the original shit.
I don't. I mean, as far as music theory, I don't know anything about music theory. So
I know it subconsciously because my old bass player passed away. He used to know a little bit of it, and I would play stuff, and he'd be like, "Oh, that's this and that," and I'd be like, "I don't know what that is, but I guess I know it."
yeah, your body
And-
feels the pattern.
So,
Yeah.
but I really don't know music theory, and
I mean, we don't know it very well, but I would venture to, or I would say it's very important.
I feel like
I mean,
if I knew it, maybe it would help, but it hasn't
much more
really
convenient.
inhibited my creativity in any way.
No,
Oh, yeah.
I would agree.
I don't know.
It's convenient. It helps.
I imagine if you work with a musician, regardless of whatever it is you're working on, the type of music you're playing, or the instruments, that knowing a little bit about music theory may help you speak to each other.
Yeah.
Sure.
There is a common thing, and I've been playing the guitar for about a year, and I've been playing with my brother and his girlfriend, just hanging out of the house, just nonsensically playing and just trying to figure out what sounds good, and being able to talk to each other about what you're doing and what you want to do next when it comes to the instrument is really fucking important. If you can't convey to Phil what you want to do on your bass and what you need him to do on a guitar, you can't play music together. So I see musicians seem to, some of them make up kind of their own language
Yeah.
to talk to each other.
We usually say like, "All right, now put your finger there," and then move down to here. That's how we do.
Let's take our first and only song break. This is Stone Cold Killer, which is the first track on the debut album Sleepwalker. Here it is.
Makes me shiver.
about this song for a little bit. Stone Cold Killer. Excellent way to open up a record. I feel like it kind of sets the tone for the whole thing. What's the inspiration behind that song?
A kick in the balls?
Just a straight kick in the balls.
You're getting murdered, right, George?
Just murdered by the music.
The lyrics is like about, I guess, like a victim of horrible murder. But like, the tone of the song, besides the lyrics, is just about like, hey, this is who we are, this is what we do. If you like this, you'll like the rest of the album.
If you like that opening track, I guarantee you will like every other
pretty
track
much.
that comes after.
I think we all agreed, like, immediately, like, well, we have to open the Stone Cold Killer.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the
Was that
in
the
your face.
very first decision, or did that take some time to get
Oh
to?
man, that's a good question.
Yeah, probably not too much time to
I
think
think we
about
were like, Stone Cold Killer? Yeah, sounds good, yeah.
It's a killer.
It's a fucking killer.
And,
Yeah,
killer track.
The lyrics are awesome, too, like I said.
When you sit down to write music together, how do you guys go about doing that? Does somebody bring a couple of ideas to the table, give them to everybody else, say, hey, take this home, listen to this is what I'm thinking, and then you guys sit down in your own private time and work? Do you guys live together, brothers?
we
we
did,
used to.
not anymore.
Not anymore. Huh? Does it make it easier or harder to write music living together?
It's the same.
Yeah, there's really no change there. You know, we're kind of on the same wavelength.
Well, most
you know,
of the
most
songs,
often.
George has all the instrumentation, or not all the, but he does all the melodies and stuff beforehand, and he'll bring us the songs, and I'll write lyrics, and I'm not very good at writing melodies and guitar lines and stuff, so I'll write a story, basically, of lyrics, and then I give it to George, and George will figure out how he can add it to a song he's already written or something like that, if that's possible.
How many of the songs on this debut album, Sleepwalker, did
None.
you write the lyrics for?
None, actually. Only on the next one.
Oh, there's a next one, huh?
is.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that. What's this next album gonna be? Do we have a
We
name
don't have a
for
name
it
yet,
yet?
actually.
Kicking around a couple ideas.
we have some names, but I don't think
We're not gonna talk about
we're
it.
not. But I mean, we're actually about to start recording it. It's really awesome. It's a lot
11
more.
songs? 10 songs?
I think 10 songs.
10
10 songs, yeah.
It's really rock and roll. I mean, it's heavy, but it's got a little bit more energy to it than this last one.
Yeah, the debut record, Sleepwalker. I know I keep saying it over and over again, but the people listening
What's it
out
called
there,
again?
Sleepwalker.
Oh, okay, cool.
Debut album.
Yeah.
Warlung, you guys did it.
Yeah.
Who? Yeah.
Oh,
Warlung.
Warlung. Oh, okay.
This Sleepwalker definitely has. I don't know how to explain. I'm searching for the words to explain it, but it definitely has a slower, sleepy
Dark
tone to it. It is very dark.
Yeah.
It is
Just a dark aura to
It is excellent to blaze a bowl before you drive to work and then put it on the record player, and then during your commute, or not the record player, whatever the fuck you call it in the car, MP3 player, CD player. If you guys have a record player that works in the car, TexasMetalShow@gmail.com. If you could tell me how that works,
I
that
want to
would
know
be
how
fucking
this
awesome.
exactly.
I
wanna
one in
know how
my
it
car.
works.
So you guys are injecting a little bit of more energy into this next record.
There's,
Yeah.
I would say, some songs have a little bit more of a faster pace. There's a few more major chords in there, but there's a lot of heavy riffs too, so you won't miss it.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
Yeah, a lot more. I don't know. I think it's a little bit more singable. I always try to write stuff that's singable, but this one, I don't know. It's funner to me.
When you could just sit there and like just get into it and sing along with whatever you're listening
Yeah,
to.
there are like a few more like anthem, type songs in there. You
Yeah.
know, like I would say, yeah.
Good psychedelic vein, though.
What's
It
the
is.
inspiration for kind of the switch to go from I don't want to say softer, because Sleepwalker isn't soft at all. It's very heavy,
Yeah.
but it's also very
melodies. We try and do a lot of melodies.
kind of brings it down, but in a
Yeah.
good way.
Yeah.
It brings it all down in a really good way. Why did you
Sing.
guys decide to kind of move away from that with this second record?
Well, it's not really moving away. It's just adding to.
I think it's a
Okay.
progression.
I would say, yeah.
You know?
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
If you can't progress as a band,
Right.
Slayer, why would you keep putting out the same records over and over again? Slayer.
Slayer.
I like to talk a lot of shit about Slayer. It's real funny.
You don't
to-
like them?
I really like Live Undead, and I like Hell Awaits, but like you get some stuff off of Rain and Blood or whatever the fuck that album's called. That's great. But as far as Slayer goes, I find as over the years I get way more bored with thrash if it isn't in the vein of like first wave black metal and just shitty production.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to hear a clean
What
thrash
about
record.
Show No Mercy though?
Okay, Show No Mercy is
That's the
yeah,
original, man.
Yes, that's the
You know?
first album. That is one. I'd say 5. First 5. I go with first 5, and I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
After that, I really pick and choose. But thrash metal has never really been something that I've been super into. And I have seen Slayer.
Not even like
many times.
like Municipal Waste or something like along those lines.
Municipal Waste is still newer to me.
Yeah.
I got a record of theirs. I don't remember what it was called. I've listened to a little bit, and so far it hasn't grabbed me. It just
Dude,
how it
check
goes.
check out Freedom. Freedom, D-U-M-B, Freedom. It's awesome.
Album or a
Album.
band?
Yeah, album.
Nasty,
No,
just
no,
Municipal Waste.
Municipal Waste, Freedom.
Nasty,
Exactly.
dirty thrash.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
take
awesome.
your advice on
So
that.
cool, dude. You got to check it out.
How did you guys come up with the name Warlung? Was there other names before that?
We were throwing around stuff, and I think Warlung just came. I think I came up with it from. I don't know what it was. I used to have this old little project, dumb thing called Earthlung Machine. And then
Don't dog on
Yeah.
yourself.
I didn't actually record anything, and then I thought of like Warlung Machine, and I cut off a machine, and it was just Warlung, and it just the way it looked in my head and the way it sounded just
It sounded
man.
cool.
Also, I think we were trying to find a name that kind of represented like the style of the
yeah.
music,
I'd say it fits.
and just kind of like a war cry, a battle call,
Yeah,
that
I can see
just
that.
Yeah.
ballsy,
Fucking
exactly.
Judas Priest song.
Yeah.
and
just
it just
gets-
flows.
And I wish I could sing like that.
I was really worried on that last Judas Priest album that came out in I think 2015. Babe, what's it called?
Oh man.
Redeemer of Souls.
Okay.
That Halford wasn't gonna have it.
Yeah. Why?
I just. It's been a long
No,
time.
I agree. I feel like
It's been a long time.
he gets up there.
But that motherfucker can still bring it.
And felt it. I didn't
Rob
hear that
What is
record.
it? 40, 50 years now at this point. Like he's been.
Yeah,
He's
probably.
been singing. I mean.
Most of my life,
Yeah.
growing up, my first girlfriend ever, Kayla. If you're listening, shout out, Kayla. You're great. You got a cute kid. Thank God we didn't have a kid together when we were like 16 and we thought about it. God, teenagers are fucking
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah,
that
that'll
kid
happen.
be
That is
a
a rash decision.
I love you.
Oh my God, terrible. The
love
things you
you.
do to get laid.
Yeah.
The dumb things you do.
I know, like dinner.
Her dad was always like, you should listen to Judas Priest and AC/DC. And I'm like, okay, old man. Like, I'm going to go listen to some Metallica. Like, I don't want to hear this shit. And so 2002, 2003, 2004, I don't exactly remember which, but it was the year that Black Sabbath was doing Ozfest with all original members with Judas Priest, Dimmu Borgir, Black Label Society, Superjoint Ritual, not Superjoint.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this was when
Jesus.
Phil was still fucked up. I remember he came out on stage and you could just tell by the way he was talking and
gone.
repeating himself
Yeah.
that he was just totally fucked off.
Yeah.
And Judas Priest came out before Black Sabbath and after Dimmu Borgir, which at that point in my life, Dimmu Borgir and Cradle of Filth were like some
What
of
a
my
lineup,
favorite
dude.
shit. Oh, I know,
Yeah,
probably
that's
one of the best
ridiculous.
Ozfest lineups. And all the original Black Sabbath members who
Yeah.
here can say that, who
Yeah.
here's seen them.
I've seen them
Not
twice,
me.
but not with Bill Ward.
I've seen them with Bill Ward,
damn it.
and that's why I have this
Damn it,
show.
damn you.
Badass.
And so they start with, I think it's called the Hellion, which is the introduction to Electric Eye. And Halford comes
nice.
out on that fucking Harley
my
Davidson,
God.
and I'm like,
Oh, right.
okay,
Yes.
what's gonna happen
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
And they start playing, and I'm like, holy shit, that old guy was right. Judas Priest kicks ass. And ever since then, I've been a fairly decent Judas
But dude,
Priest fan.
Yeah, I
when you
saw
think
him-
about it, they're similar.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
saw.
I mean, there
a
really
show.
are similarities
It
between
was
the two sounds.
Judas Priest, Black Label Society, and Slayer.
Oh,
And I
that
was
would be.
young.
I saw Slayer that they were on that bill as well. Slayer played that night as
and
well.
it was at Woodlands when I was a
yeah.
kid, but I was into Judas Priest, and then
Yeah.
man, Zach Wilde came out for like 20 minutes by himself, just shredding.
Every time
And
he
then-
plays guitar, it makes me want to play
Yeah.
guitar.
Phil's dad handed him a beer. He said, "Drink this," and he pushed him into the pit.
Yeah, go have fun.
No, and then
love you.
Slayer, and the whole
Become a
lawn
man.
was a pit, and I'm just like, I don't know how
You're
old I
like,
was,
"Run
like 12 or
blood."
something.
And you're like, oh my God, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Stop running into me. I'm just a child.
Yeah, this is too much, but
How old do
Just
you,
a
do
young
you think
boy.
you were?
I had to be anywhere from, I'm just going to gauge it for like 10 to 14.
That is an
Somewhere
excellent
around
age
there.
for someone
Yeah.
to take you
Somewhere
to that kind
around
of show.
there.
That
I
changes
was
your life.
maybe 12.
It really
we'll go
does.
with 12, but
really
in the middle.
yeah, it was great. It was great.
Sorry, babe. I keep coughing in your microphone.
But I could have been like 19. I don't know.
It's all that indicativa you've been smoking, man.
I actually recently made the switch to dabs. And so I don't know how that works with the strains.
Yeah.
All I know is like 2 grams of wax will last me like 3.5 weeks.
The future, man.
It is the future, because like an eighth of flour just goes out the fucking window. 'Cause I got a little fancy pouch with a little one hitter, and I take it with me wherever I go, except for work. If you're listening to this, boss, and it just you just smoke it all. And you're like, I just bought this like 4 days ago, but the wax you like take one in the morning, and you're like, okay, my day is extra gonna be great.
The wax is intense.
I'm jealous.
How much does the marijuana have to do with the writing process? Do you guys like to get super baked and write, or do you like to stay
I
clear-headed?
actually can't
I
even
do.
smoke.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh,
It's been like 2 years.
what do you do?
I'm a geologist and hydrographic surveyor.
Well, what does that mean? I know what geology is, but what, like, do you like shoot things into the ground and get like core samples and shit, or?
We actually do. We do sediment sampling, but we do like sonar surveys and stuff. We get depth sounders and all that crazy crap. So yeah, I can't smoke weed.
That's a bummer, man.
is.
I'm really sorry to everybody. Could we just take a moment of silence,
Moment of silence.
for
This is for
not
George.
being able to smoke weed? Wait, is that an
R.I.P.
upside down cross, or is
George's
that a
bad
regular?
habit.
Okay, good.
You saw that, right?
Remember, the devil.
Yeah, the
That's the
devil.
theme of the evening. Warlung loves the devil. You heard it first here. All right, so
But they usually always blaze before before
Yeah, like,
practice.
what do we
we definitely blaze during practice, and then my writing process is I get really stoned on my patio, typically by myself.
Mom, I'm sorry.
And I'll have sorry, Mom.
Our moms know.
And then
Yeah, they listen to your record.
yes.
Yeah, they have actually.
yeah.
What do they think?
Gosh.
My mom's okay on it. My dad just said it's like, what did he say? It's not he didn't say it was too heavy.
My dad
he
said
was just
it
like
was,
it's too like
it was head banging.
yeah, that's what it was, head banging
Yeah,
music.
what do
Does
you
he
mean
even know
head-
what that means?
Yeah, of course he does. You know, he's
He
the
must.
reason that we are the way we are.
Right, exactly.
I was like,
so
Dad,
it's his
what
fault.
are you talking about? Yeah, it is. Exactly.
You don't- you
only
did-
have yourself to blame.
Did he
man,
ever
right?
headbang?
Oh, yeah,
Come
he had
over
long
a
hair.
little
He
bit
had
to the left or a little bit to the right, because you're blocking the camera. Sorry, Alexis is ruining our wonderful. Everybody wave. Hi, Instagram. Thanks for joining us.
yeah.
You probably can't hear anything we're saying.
But yeah, I get really blitzed and I write stories basically that I turn into lyrics.
Let's talk about the story behind the Pilgrim, the Indian, and the Witch. Is that correct? The title.
Yep.
Let's talk about that, because every
came up
time
with
I listen to it, I try to wrap my brain around what is going on, and so far I've not been able to do it.
Phil came up with a theme,
Of
and
the
then
Pilgrim.
I wrote the lyrics.
Yeah, so I don't know. We were just kicking around an idea. We George and I, and everybody, we sit down and we're like, what is a good theme the next song could be around? Whether it's kids working underage in a coal mine or something.
Is there a song about
Or-
that?
On the next
On the
album.
next
There
one.
actually is. Yes, there is.
Wow,
Or
that's
just
some
other
serious
ideas.
shit.
Yeah.
Libertarianism at work. Oh, sorry.
But or other things. So we're like, what about a pilgrim, an Indian, and the witch, and just all their different perspectives in the same time period. So
So like the intro, if you read the lyrics online, the intro is in the perspective of the pilgrim. Second verse is the perspective of the Indian, and the third verse is the perspective of the witch. And it's just all of their quarrels, I guess, or their own perceptions of each other.
You didn't think that maybe like the Pilgrim, the Native, and the Witch, maybe Indian was a little culturally insensitive?
No.
No, you haven't received
Could've
any
been.
emails.
Nah.
Oh, then you guys are probably.
Oh, you know what? I did get a memo.
Yeah? What did it say?
Yeah, from the witch, actually.
Yeah, she was like,
Totally disgruntled.
"Stop fucking talking about me. I didn't sign up for this. Fuck you."
By the way, your babies were gross. They weren't good. They were undercooked.
Did she salt your lands? Make things die? That's what witches did. They were
my
like blamed
grasses
for all sorts
died.
of
I don't know.
crazy
They
shit.
could have came.
Yeah, they probably
Probably
did.
give me a couple ant beds in my front yard.
It was because of this insensitive song.
Had a string of bad luck.
I feel like they were blamed for a lot of things they never even did. Like things they never even thought about. They just still got blamed for
wanted
it.
to get laid and party and eat some mushrooms and
They
hang out with
wanted
the
to
ghosts.
they were
Naked
free
in the
spirits
woods,
when you
man.
think about it. They just wanted to live their own life.
Who doesn't want to dance naked in the woods?
I can't think of a
Sounds
single
like
I'm
it.
down for it.
Actually, that's a lyric. That's a fucking
Yeah,
lyric,
it is.
dude, like in the song.
Yeah, we put that
Hey,
in.
if you give me a handful of mushrooms, I will dance naked in the woods any day.
What about like just a gram?
I'll still do it.
Yeah, okay. So it doesn't have to be a
It
whole
doesn't.
lot.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a
Clothes might
lot,
be
but,
on,
like,
I don't know what the
Haven't we
price
done
of
that?
shrooms is right now.
I don't either.
Didn't we do that?
What about shopping around for labels? Have you guys had any contact from anyone?
We have
a little bit.
We have actually.
Can we drop some names, or is are
Yeah, we talked to Black Farm Records out of France is one of the labels that contacted us, and that's kind of in the works.
So they heard your record and then were like, man,
They
or
did.
Did you guys send it to them, or did
No.
it just somehow or
No,
another make it
actually,
their way?
They just hit us up one day randomly.
They called it a monster. And
Wow,
it should
it is.
be
It
on
is a
vinyl.
monster.
They're like, when are you going to put this on vinyl? We want it on vinyl,
Yeah, when are
So
you putting
was
that on
pretty
vinyl?
Cool, to hear.
We need to, man.
Yeah.
We're working on
We're
it.
kind
Yeah.
of suck at promoting everything.
We're good musicians. We're bad marketers.
yeah, like we're not good at like any of that stuff. So
Well, one of
It's
you
the
has an
cash.
adult job.
It's the cash.
What
Yeah.
about the
We got
the-
adult jobs. Bill's a nurse.
You work.
I'm a nurse.
What kind? LVN? RN?
I'm an RN.
What kind of RN? Any
I work in
specialty?
the operating room.
Yeah. Are you a circulating
I
OR
am.
nurse?
Yeah,
My
that's
dad's
it.
a circulating
No way.
OR
That's
nurse,
awesome.
but he lives in California. He said to
man.
me, that's like tippy top of the RN.
Yeah,
Like
it's-
that's the where you want to be. You make the most money.
Oh, yeah, that's
He
good.
told me one time they were cutting a dude open to do some kind of surgery, and he'd been drinking with his old lady all night, and he's just
God.
standing there, and he's like, "Dude, if I throw up inside this guy, I'm gonna get
Oh
in
my
trouble."
God.
Oh,
Wow.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, that's pretty hardcore. but-
Yeah.
Wouldn't you hate
My
to
dad's
be-
been a nurse.
Oh,
He
that's awesome.
was an
My-
LVN for many
fun
years
fact,
in the
my
RN.
dad's also a nurse.
Male nurses is where it's at.
It is.
What about you, man?
Greg
What do you do for a living?
I deliver newspapers.
Gaylord.
Wow, is that lucrative?
Oh, very much so. Yes, absolutely.
Well, your brother's laughing at you. Is that a?
He reads the paper every day. Of course he's laughing. He's dependent on it. Where would he be without me? You know what I'm saying? No, not really. I'm a project manager for a residential construction
Oh
company.
yes, it says that on your Facebook
Yeah,
page.
yeah.
We talked about that a little bit. What about you, man?
I am one of the estimators for that residential construction company.
Nepotism?
No,
A little
no.
bit.
Oh, no, yeah.
I heard
just,
yes and I heard no.
We've
do we
already
believe?
gone through that.
Yeah.
We've moved past that, but yeah, actually, he's crunching numbers. He's
Yeah,
doing
so
a good job.
I estimate and bid all the work, and then he oversees all the work and makes sure it's done properly.
Commercial and residential construction,
Sadly,
bit of both.
we're gonna have to wrap it up.
Cool.
I'd love to have you guys back on the show again. Maybe
yeah,
talk a little bit
definitely.
more.
Anytime.
What is the? Do you have a tentative time frame for this next unnamed Warlung album? Tentative.
Summer-ish?
We're gonna go move a lot faster on this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna start recording in a couple weeks, actually.
So
I'm gonna say from summer to fall we can get it out. That's my best estimate.
Yeah. I think we could get it out midsummer.
Whenever you're ready to
July,
share
June
some
or
of
July,
it with
maybe.
me, we don't have to give it out to the public.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little taste.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you guys again for being on the
Share a
show.
Oh yeah, thank you
I
for
love
having
the
us.
debut album. There really
We gotta
is.
plug some. We gotta
Real
plug
quick,
some
March
stuff.
2nd, Warlung will be playing with Broom from
yeah.
San Francisco.
yeah.
They're DHU Records artists.
Oh yeah, DHU.
Same as
huh?
Doomstress.
Yep.
Who else do we
Yeah.
know that's
Yeah.
on
But anyway,
DHU?
so yeah, they're playing with our buddies Warlung here in Houston.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. And actually, it's at Rudyard's.
I love
Rudyard's.
Rudyard's.
On the
Fuck
wall.
yeah,
Best sound in
Rudyard's.
music.
Yeah.
I think that's
It's great.
Is that a Tobin show, Independent?
It is. It is a token.
That guy,
Yeah.
that independent guy, Tobin,
tearing it up.
He's rising to the top.
He really is.
They really
Yeah.
are.
He's doing our show here on February 24th at Dan Electro's.
Right
too.
on.
So-
He's
Yeah.
helping out a lot.
Oh, the beer show over there.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
plugging
yeah,
my
yeah.
shit on somebody else's show.
Damn it, Alexis. It's okay. She's been on the show more than anyone else at this point.
Yeah.
And you just that number keeps going up because she always supports us because she's fucking awesome.
Hey, we're cool with it. We love Alexis and
Yeah.
Doomstress.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Listen
we're
to
good with
Doomstress. They're
I
fucking
don't think
awesome.
you'll meet anybody in the
Yeah.
local Doom scene that's more supportive than Alexis and
That's
Brett.
comes
true.
all the
100%
shit.
agree.
Definitely.
Very much
100%
so.
agree.
I would
I love
agree with
that.
that statement.
I love the
100%.
debut album.
Thanks,
if you're
man.
listening to the podcast and you haven't listened to it and you're a big Doom kind of guy or gal or stoner, sleepwalker, Bandcamp, get it. You're going to love it.
I got one more thing to say.
Yes, go right ahead.
Shout out to Walters.
Yeah,
yeah.
R.I.P. Walter.
Rest in
Yeah.
peace.
We love
Zach,
you guys.
Thanks
We
for the
love
great
love
show.
you,
Walters. We had some good times, good memories there.
Let's drink some beer and eat some burgers.
Yes.
Yeah!
Texas Metal Show.
Yeah, we're the best. Woo!
Thanks, man.
Hey, man, thank you guys very
Actually,
much. I
dude,
really
yeah,
appreciate it.
definitely.
What do you think, man? You got a good time? Fuck great.
Sweet.
Thanks for listening to the show. I hope you enjoyed the interview. WARLUNG are some badass motherfuckers. Make sure you check them out live. Follow them on social media. Also, come to Heavy Metal Monday at Sigma Brewing. It's a lot of fun. And we like to get real drunk and rowdy. Also, go out and support your local metal scene. Because when you don't, it makes you an asshole.